Reflections continues now to welcome to this segment of the program Dr. Daniel Barwick, who it's still fairly logical to say is the new president at Independence Community College. As we talk, your first semester at ICC has really pretty much just kicked in, hasn't it?
Yes, we're just finishing the second week of classes, and it's the best time to be on a college campus, of course. The excitement of the beginning of a new semester. You see the new students who've just arrived and are learning their way around. The faculty who get to meet those students and begin to do this work that they feel so passionate about. It's a fantastic experience. I'm sure you know what I mean, but it's really one of those times when on a campus when you can feel the energy in the air.
And there haven't been very many tests yet either.
Exactly.
So, it's
exactly. The students, the rude awakening hasn't occurred yet.
So again, you came on board at the 1st of August?
August 1st, my first day.
So again, still kind of fresh in the job. And you came to Independence Community College from New York State.
Right, not New York City,
right.
New York State. I actually have lived for the last 20 years in Western New York. The last 15 just south of Rochester, New York, in a relatively small community. Most of New York State is actually quite rural.
Yeah, that's something people have such a hard time accepting. There's this thing that exists called upstate, and somehow we don't know what that means.
It is hard to believe. Many people don't know. For example, the entire northern part of New York State, the northern third of the entire state, is the largest state park in the lower 48 states, the Adirondack Park. It's forever wild. There's no cell service. The population density is unbelievably low, one of the lowest in the United States. And it's hard to believe you're really just a few hours from New York City.
Yeah. You were in the college business in New York State, right?
Well, yes. I've worked, actually. I don't move around much. So this was a big move for me to come here, although this is a dream come true for me because my family has always wanted to come here. I've been working for the last 15 years at one of the State University of New York campuses, the Alfred campus in Alfred, New York, which is a college of technology that also serves partly as the community college for its county. And as I said, I've been there for about 15 years in a variety of administrative roles as well as a faculty member. I've almost always been a faculty member there as well.
This is kind of off topic a little bit here, but is the Alfred, New York community, is that far enough inland from the coast that the hurricane didn't get too bad?
In fact, I think there was almost no effect at all.
Wow.
I talked to people. We're so far, New York is actually a larger state than most people think because it's somewhat irregularly shaped. Western New York is very far from the coast. From my house in Dansville, New York, it would have taken me at least 6.5 hours to get to New York City, depending on traffic, probably longer. Yeah. And so there was really no effect. I called some friends and said, what's it doing there? Yeah. And they basically just said it looked a little gloomy and that there was some clouds and a little bit of wind, but really nothing else.
Okay. We'll get off the New York state of mind here pretty quickly, but something I wanted to talk to you about before we get off that is the New York state of mind. I mean, you come to southeast Kansas from New York State, not New York, but New York State, which is a fair piece of travel and also a considerably different kind of mindset. And you sort of hinted at why southeast Kansas seemed like a good idea to you before the idea came.
Oh, this is something that my wife and I have wanted to do for years.
Really?
Just to give you a little background, although I was born in New York, I was raised in New York, I went to college, undergraduate in New York State, but then I went to graduate school at the University of Iowa. Mm-hmm. And my wife did too. And while there, we made two important discoveries. We discovered all of our best lifelong friends there. We found friends that remain your best friends for your life. Wow. Lifelong friends, and that's a very special thing. And the second was that we discovered how much we liked the Midwest. I don't want to belabor the point, but we found that we liked everything about the Midwest. We liked the people particularly. We liked the climate. We liked the terrain. Everything is nothing is near, but nothing is too far, and we really enjoyed it. At the time we spent here was just wonderful, and we both ended up moving back to New York. Me to finish another degree in the state university system, but and my wife for professional reasons. But we always wanted to move closer to the friends that we'd made while we lived in the Midwest.
You had some Kansas contacts also,
Yeah, we
right?
had friends who, although they came to the University of Iowa, they came from all over the Midwest. And so what we've done is, the funny thing is, while all of our friends would go on vacations, to more traditional destinations, maybe, they'd go to a big city, or they'd go to Hawaii, or they'd go to Florida or something like that. Every year, my wife and I, our vacations were spent in the Midwest. And even after we had children, we continued. That was our tradition. So, although that was 20 years ago, we come back every year, multiple times sometimes, to see our friends. And so the Midwest stayed near and dear to our hearts. And when this position came available, we knew this was the place.
It's good stuff. Good stuff. Children.
Yeah, we have two daughters, Laura and Leah. Laura is 11 and Leah is 8.
Wow.
Laura started today the 6th grade in the new middle school, and Leah started today the 3rd grade in the new elementary school. So I'll be very curious when I get home today to hear the reports, because they, of course, needed a lot more convincing to
I was
go.
going to say, Mom and Dad thought this was a great idea from the start. The kids are saying, Dad.
That's putting it. That's the sanitized TV version. They went through what looked to me almost like a grieving process. It began with outright, denial. They thought we were joking. Then it moved to refusal. Then it moved to a sort of bargaining process and so forth. And we knew that when they came here and they saw what Independence had to offer young people, which frankly goes well beyond what they could have found in any comparable sized community in New York State, we knew that they would love it here. And we see going to school and making the friends that they'll make in school, we see it as sort of the last step in that, that permanent move here.
And it's nice, in a way, it's nice that it happened at the beginning. I mean, for a kid, the whole year starts with school. I mean, let's face it, parents, they're always going to be there.
You're exactly right. Yes, that's true. It's if you're going to move and you have kids, you want them to not be, the new kid in the middle of the year if you can help it.
Indeed. Okay, so Southeast Kansas is okay with you. Independence Community College, how have you? I was going to say, how did you find it? And you were going to say with a map. But what have been your impressions of Independence Community College?
Well, it's very difficult for me to answer that without sounding corny, but I'll try. Because Independence Community College, I obviously I researched. I knew the area before we came. I researched the position before we came, and all the way through the process, I just became more and more impressed with the organization and the people there. And then after I arrived, obviously you're going to spend, if you're from a considerable distance and you're not already part of the community, you're going to spend most of your time listening and learning. This is critical. I think probably the predominant factor in failed leadership positions is essentially a refusal to listen to better informed people than you. And so much of what I've been doing is meeting with people who are part of the college and understanding the college's history, what those people do. And frankly, I am blown away by it.
Good.
The people you meet, and I won't embarrass anybody, of course, by naming names, but a daily occurrence is sitting down with someone who has been at the college, who has worked diligently at the college for several years, to listen to them talk about their vision for the college, their understanding of the history and the state of the college, their concern for the students, which is sometimes reaches a depth it's almost palpable. It's an extraordinary, humbling feeling. I drive home at the end of the day and I shake my head and I think to myself, that person was extraordinary. And to feel that day after day is almost a surreal experience. You think, when am I going to meet that person who just, I shrug and I say, oh God, I don't know what they're doing here. I haven't met that person yet. We have an incredible group of dedicated faculty and staff who who care deeply about the community college mission.
Again, I had the honor of spending 16 years there, and one of the great honors of it was my colleagues. You know, again, I have many of the same kind of feelings you do. But the new guy, I mean, what's going to change, by golly?
I would never dream of prescribing without diagnosing. Of course, everybody wants to know what you're going to change. Mm-hmm. And when I interviewed for the job, I told the board that hired me, if you're looking for somebody to come in and blow the place up, I'm not your guy. There are a lot of things here that are not just worth saving, but are worth expanding, are worth celebrating. There are many, many pockets of excellence in this institution, and I see it as my job to promote those and to foster new ones, and then bring it together to sort of a cohesive whole.
The old doctor's motto: "First, do no harm."
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
We're coming up on running out of clock here, but the community college is called a community college, well, for a number of reasons, but there's one very important reason: because it belongs to the community. And if it doesn't, then something's wrong, right?
That's a very perceptive comment. The reason why a community college is unique in higher education is because instead of merely serving a very specific student population, it serves a whole community and all of that community's constituencies. You know, it serves young and old. It serves people of all different skill levels and interest levels. And so the successful operation of a community college is one that effectively serves those constituencies. We will enter into a strategic planning process where we will find new and even more effective ways to do that.
What's the telephone number of the president of Independence Community College?
It's 620
Okay.
330 5950.
Okay. And would you welcome calls from folks who say this community college needs?
Absolutely. My email address is dbarwick at indycc.edu. You're welcome to call me or email me.
I've had some experience calling you, and you're a busy guy and hard to catch, but the email is a good idea. dbarwick at, with the funny little @ sign, indycc.edu.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, I need input from the community. I welcome it. I'm a listener, and I would look forward to hearing from anyone.
Well, we appreciate you not only listening, but talking with us. We had a good visit. Thank you very much.
Thanks for having me.
All right.
Appreciate it. Thank
Daniel Barwick, who's president of Independence Community College. And thank you for being with us for this edition of Reflections.